I don't care how much you hate your job, you have to work there for 2 years. And here are 2 reasons why this is the case. Number one, I don't care what kind of denial you're in and that you tell yourself more people do this, blah, 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 blah. Trust me, your competition, the people who can demand the top of the salary range, they're not job hoppers. Number two, leaving a job to chase after a higher salary is just a short-term benefit. It's just a short-term gain. If you really care about your career and you want to work in this industry for a while, you are limiting your long-term earning potential. You are ruining your resume, and you won't be able to compete with those other people that I was talking about. And also, not to mention, like, you can't learn anything in less than 2 years. And now that I'm thinking about it, put the shoe on the other foot. What if you went into a job interview and you asked that hiring manager about the company culture or their management philosophy, and they said in their interview answer that none of their employees stayed there for more than 6 months, 9 months, or a year? That would be a major red flag to you. So why shouldn't it be concerning to hiring managers? Why shouldn't hiring managers care about loyalty, longevity, and people that will stick it out and learn a skill? Because you don't learn anything in less than 2 years. Y'all are in some level of denial if you think that job hopping doesn't affect you in the long term. When you fill out a job application and it asks you what you would like to make, and it requires a numeric value, put in all zeros or all nines or TBD. You don't have to answer this question, and you shouldn't. Welcome back to my series, Inappropriate Questions in Job Interviews and How to Handle Them. This one we get all the time. As women, it is very common to be asked about what our husband does. In fact, when people Google me, it will say Anna Papalia book, Anna Papalia resume, Anna Papalia husband. What does my husband have to do with what I do here? Why are people so obsessed with women's husbands? It is so inappropriate. It has nothing to do with your qualifications. It has nothing to do with whether or not you are qualified for this position. Why do people want to know? They want to know because they want to see if they can pay you less. If your husband's a doctor or a lawyer, for example, they're going to be like, yes, we can get away with paying her less. They want to make sure that you have someone at home taking care of you. This is crazy. It's totally biased because most women are breadwinners. There's tons of data to back this up, yet we're stuck in this old mindset that women can only be understood by knowing what their husbands do. Rant over. All right, so if you get this question in an interview, I seriously would say, is my husband applying to this position? Because I don't see what he does is valuable to me being qualified. But the problem is, if you say that, they're going to think that you are not, a good corporate citizen, and that you're not going to be good at this job, and if you won't answer their questions, or if you call them on the carpet, they're going to feel embarrassed and ashamed, and they're not going to pass you on to the next round because you didn't play along. I think one of the best ways to get around a question like this is to give them a vague answer, or to try to change the subject. Or you can just look at them and say, oh, well, what does your wife do, Bill? You won't get it, but at least it'll make you feel a little better. As women, maybe we should start doing that. Maybe we should start our interviews by asking male candidates what their wives do. I'm sorry that this is a thing. For more tips on how to interview better, follow me. Good luck in your upcoming interviews, and I'm sorry. My attention that people think that they can change their interview style or pretend to be whatever the hiring manager wants in a job interview. That is not the way it works, right? Your interview style is based on your personality, levels of introversion and extroversion, how accommodating and steadfast you are. Well, you might be a natural introvert, and you know that you need to turn up the volume just a bit in a job interview and become slightly more extroverted. You aren't going to become an extrovert forever. That's not the way it works. Like, I have green eyes. I can't go into a job interview and pretend like they're brown. Like, that's not the way it works. My eyes are always going to be green, in the same way you are always going to be an introvert. This advice and this belief that you could go into a job interview and just pretend to be whatever they want and tell them what they want to hear is illogical. It doesn't make any sense. First of all, you don't know what they want. Second of all, it is impossible to do that. And why would you fake it? I get it. You need a job. You want the money. You want to get your foot in the door. But then how long are you going to pretend to be this outgoing extrovert? And here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert. There's nothing wrong with having green eyes. If you keep pretending to be something that you're not, that's just you abandoning yourself. That's self-sabotage. I think the best way to interview is to be yourself. That's true confidence. An interview, in the most basic sense, is a set of questions about you. The more you know yourself, the better you'll do. It is not about pretending to be something that you're not. It is about being proud of who you are and being that person. That is how you find the right job.
So these tips aren't just for people with agents. You can actually get auditions from lots of places. I actually, when I was casting this, I reached out to my network of people. A lot of people maybe didn't have agents or didn't want to run it through their agents. But I also have seen people get cast from Twitter, and there's Facebook groups for casting. So you don't necessarily have to have an agent to get cast. You do to be in the big AAA games and to get auditions for animation and things like that. But you actually don't need an agent to get auditions. But when to send demos to agents, when you have those professionally produced demos that have been produced and written and directed by a professional demo producer, then that's when you can submit them to agencies. But the demo production doesn't happen until after training, because this industry is so competitive. You can't just jump right into demo production when you haven't done the training. If people do that, they feel like they wasted their money on the demos. I produce demos myself, so I know I don't want people to waste their money. I want those demos, because they're expensive, to last you about 5 years. So you need to have done the work and the training before you get to the demos. Demos like the 10th step.
If you've been looking for a job for a while and you can't seem to land a position, you may need a therapist, not a career coach. My name's Anna Papalia, and I've been teaching people how to interview better since 2011. I've worked with over 10,000 clients, and I wrote the book, Interviewology, The New Science of Interviewing. Here, let me unpack this for you. A job search is full of uncertainty, and it triggers lots of feelings for us of unworthiness. What happens to you when you're in that state? This stress of this situation may bring out things in you that are not productive in a job search. Are you really putting your best foot forward? Are you doing things to sabotage your success? That's what I mean by you may need a therapist, not a career coach. I hope that helps. For more tips on how to interview better, follow me. Get an Interviewology profile to discover what's holding you back in a job interview, and good luck in your upcoming interview.
Yeah? Well, prove it. Prove it. Send this video to all your mutuals. Or are you lying? Or are you a big liar? Evil.